Hey everybody, it's Sha Blackburn, the LoonWitch here. Today is September 5th, 2022, so it's Labor Day and the first Monday of the month. And I haven't been doing recombobulation stations for a few months. I had been relocating my office and then I had taken some vacation time and had gone away and been doing some things. And now, of course, we're ramping up into LoonWitch season, which is my busiest time of the year. And that runs pretty much August through the end of the calendar year. So I wanted to kind of catch up with everybody, do a little video, kind of a recombobulation station, but a bit of a catch up so that you can see how I keep my life well balanced. And I'm going to flip the camera around really quick and give you a tour of my new office space in Plainville, Massachusetts. So hold on. So for those of you who may not know, I do have a corporate job Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 5, where I am what's called a senior technical designer for children's clothing. And a little bit about that, kind of a sidebar to my LoonWitch life, but technical designers, we are the people who make sure that the clothes that are being designed actually fit a body correctly. So it marries a lot of my creative self with a lot of my logical mindset, and it couldn't be a more perfect job for me, and I really do enjoy what I do. So as you're looking at this first space, when you walk into, and I'll back up a little so you can see, as you come down the hall, you can see that's the entrance to my office space. And my office space is inside a wellness center called Wicked Peaceful Mind, Body, and Soul. And when you come in, the first thing that you see is my corporate work area. Now, I do often use my corporate work area as a writing area and other things as well. So it's not only about my corporate job, but you can see I have a clean desk there because I do measure samples when they arrive to me. And I have the big monitor and my laptop. But you can see in the background, not only do I have a calendar back there, but I have some other like loon images and other images that are feng shui appropriate for the area, but also images that help me to feel at peace with where I am. Where would I be without my little poster over here and that? I have all of my little tree images and some vines everywhere. So as you come on in and then we start panning through the room, you begin to see that's my reading space over there, and it's such a nice, peaceful reading space to me. This is by far, I feel like, one of the best spots I've ever had to rent because I have everything right where I need it to be. And so the reading space, you can see there's that beautiful rug, nice comfortable chairs, a nice table, and everything is just sort of in a state of peace right now because I do have the day off. And so when I leave my area, I always leave it tidied up. And as we pan further around, you can see there's the crystal cabinet. My Reiki table stays folded up until I'm actually doing a healing on somebody, and then I set it up in that corner. But you can see my three kids. There's Sam, and there's Pat in the middle, and Chris on the end. And those are the three dress forms that I work with for my corporate job. Because I practice shamanism and I do believe that everything is alive, I've named them and I talk to them and I work with them every day that I'm here pretty much. So I like to leave them all dressed up so that they're not hanging out with disembodied parts and things like that. And you may have seen them in some of the videos or other postings that I've done. And I've got my teacups and my ancestor area, and then you can see I've got my little altar here. And you can see that it's 69 degrees in this room. A very comfortable temperature for me. So let's go on over to the reading area and we'll talk about how I keep my work-life balance. So here we are in the reading area, and I'm just grabbing my coffee. I don't know if you can hear the rain outside, but it's really nice to to listen to the sound of the rain. I see I'm a little cockeyed like the old Batman TV show. Hi, here I am. So you may have noticed that I also have like the iPad stand, and you're sitting on my light ring right now where I can record videos and make it super easy to be at eye level with people when I'm doing readings and things like that, because I do offer sessions remotely, and if we do a healing together, I prefer to do the healings over video because I feel it's important for me to be able to see you in your relaxed position, but also for you to be able to see me in my process. In keeping with my theme for today's video, I want to share with you, a lot of people talk about having work-life balance, and it is really important to be able to do that. So while I'm working remotely in my corporate job, which is a 40-hour a week, sometimes more position, and I also have my business here, which is another probably 20 or 30 hours a week. We're looking at 70, 80 hours a week of work time. And yet most of the time people tell me that I'm always easygoing and optimistic and calm and patient. And how do I keep that? How do I keep my sanity and my balance through all of these things? Well, that's what I wanted to share with you. When I was a lot younger, and my son was small and things like that, I had a lot more stress and pressure in my home life than I currently do. And so my corporate job, my paycheck job, that was the place where I went to for peace and calm and tranquility, because in your corporate world, your job, you have certain expectations, and that's kind of it. You know what's expected of you every day, and it's not like somebody's going to fall and break an arm, have to be rushed to the emergency room or anything like that, unless of course you're in the medical field, and then I can't help you because those kind of things happen all the time. But when you're a parent, especially a parent to a young boy or a very active child, he was always falling, breaking something. Off to the emergency room we would go. He's had a few broken bones and plenty of scars and things like that. And that's just a part of life, and you have to be able to stay focused on what the primary need is. And so I've always been really good in other people's emergencies. I'm typically not so good in my own emergency. If something is happening specifically to me and I'm by myself, I do have some anxiety that will flare up. But my flight or fight is always to fight. I'm not a runner, I'm a fighter. Now, one of the ways that I keep a work-life balance, having a corporate section in my office and a meditative spiritual section in my office, is keeping the place clean. You can see I have a lot of clutter, I have a lot of little things, and you got to look everywhere. You look on the walls, I have knickknacks, and I have some knitting things and craft projects, and I also have all of my healing tools and tons of tarot cards and plenty of books around. So I have a lot of stuff, but my workspaces are usually clear. When I'm not at work, my desk is clean. And even when I go into the corporate office, if I'm not going to be there, we go in 2 days a week, so I'm there on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And when I come in on Tuesday morning, my desk is clean. When I go home on Wednesday evening, knowing I'm not coming back until the next week, my desk is clean. I had a boss one time who used to kind of complain to me that at the end of the day, it looked like I had never been in the office. Now, that's just something that for me, and I do believe it's also a feng shui principle, it's important to me to come into a clean slate. I like to come in and see that everything that I was working on is done. In those in-between days, so Tuesday into Wednesday, I might fold up my samples and have just a couple of little piles of paper out on things that I'm working on or things that need to be a priority for the next day. So they're kind of right in my face, but not crumpled up in a big heap. More so that they're visible in an organized fashion, so that when I sit down, turn on the computer, I can pay attention to them, give them the attention that they deserve. When I come in to my office space here, it's the same thing. As you saw, my desk is clean, everything's kind of ready to go. Usually I'm carrying my coffee in with me as opposed to leaving it on the desk for everybody to see when I arrive. But then it's out on the desk until I finish it, of course, where I can have easy access to it. I also, one of the things that I've been doing for a long time since we started working remotely is when I come into my work environment, because I have access to my spiritual tools, and I used to have spiritual tools at my corporate desk as well. I still have a couple of things there, and at the end of this video I will see if I can find some of those old photos of my previous desks and share them with you so that you can have an idea of what it used to look like for me there. But I come in and I greet the space. Of course I have an echo, and so I say good morning to her, and I get my cheesy joke of the day or whatever little newsflash she wants to pop up and share with me. But then I tend to turn on my favorite music. And music is just a really important part of focus and relaxation for me. So I've got a couple of musicians that I've followed for a long time and really love. And so I'll put on some of that music, or I'll put on just a random playlist from my iTunes library so that I can focus for the day. And if you don't have anything like that, but you do have access to iTunes, then you can always just ask your device, or go into the iTunes app itself and have them play like music to focus by, or meditation music, or piano music, or whatever it is that makes you feel grounded and ready to face your day. I also am a person who, while I'm not necessarily an early riser, as I get older I am, but my alarm is not a big jarring cacophony of noise. When I have my alarm go off, my alarm tends to be, right now it's acoustic guitar music, and it's very peaceful and light. I don't like to be startled into waking life. I prefer to wake up naturally, and in my home I never had curtains on the windows, and living with my boyfriend now, he likes to have the bedroom really dark, so the windows are all covered, and we're under blankets, and it's Doug and me and the dog, and we're all cuddled up into kind of like a little cave all night long, which is helpful when you're going to sleep, not so helpful when you want to wake up. I wake up with the natural light. If you've ever been camping with me, you know that when camping, when the sun starts coming up and the birds start singing, I start waking up, and I may not jump out of bed at 5:30 or 6 a.m., but I might be laying in my cot awake, thinking about shouldn't I get up, and I'm usually up by 6:30 when I'm camping, and that's just because the sun is up, and so I'm up, but I also go to bed earlier, because when it gets dark and you're outside and you're camping, and the sounds of those natural circadian rhythms, the sounds of the insects and the sounds of the night birds that are out and things like that, you just kind of feel at peace and at rest with everything. So you're finding that balance and harmony in the universe. Taking breaks during the day are really important. Doesn't matter if you are in a corporate office, if you're working from home, or if you're in a shared space like mine where you've got a couple of different things going on. I take a lunch every day. I might sit at my work desk and answer emails while I'm eating lunch, and it may not be the most healthy thing to do, but if that's the only time I have to check those emails, then that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm still eating my lunch. I'm not giving up my food. But it helps me to feel like I'm being productive. When I'm here doing readings, seeing clients, seeing appointments, whether they're online appointments or phone appointments or in-person appointments, I still make sure that I give myself a break in between clients. I book with a 15-minute break in between, and I do that so if I run over with somebody books me for half an hour, but it takes 35 or 40 minutes, I want to be able to give them the time that they need within reason. But I also want to make sure that I have time to use the restroom if I need to, or have a drink, or have a little snack if I need to do that. So those things are really important to maintaining balance. And a lot of times we talk about boundaries and how important boundaries are. So now that I'm here, this is a shared space with other practitioners. I'm no longer in a space where I'm completely by myself all day, every day, and can kind of lock myself in. And I really enjoy the camaraderie of having other people around. And of course, the woman that owns the space is a good friend of mine and has taken many classes from me. And I knew a long time ago that this was her destiny. So I'm glad to see it come to fruition, and I'm glad to be a part of it. But they also know that if my door to this office is closed, then I'm in a meeting or I'm with a client and I'm not to be disturbed. And the same goes for them when they're in their treatment rooms or their office spaces. If the door is closed, then I know that something's going on and they're not to be disturbed. And that's an unspoken boundary. That's a common courtesy boundary. When you come upon a closed door, you should know that the door is closed for a reason. And it may be okay to knock on the closed door, but if you are coming to a business and the door is closed, or the sign is saying closed, or there's a do not disturb sign or something else, it's not okay to try the handle and just walk in. When we come in the morning, if the shop is going to be open, I usually get here a couple of hours before the shop is actually open. So I leave the door locked, but on Saturdays when I'm here and I know we're going to be opening up at 11, I might just unlock the door and leave the close sign out so that I can be coming in here and greeting everything and lighting my community fire candles and lighting my other candles, or burning some sage, or creating a sacred space for the day's work. And I know, because that close sign is out, the majority of people are not going to try opening the door unless they have a scheduled appointment. So those are some unspoken common courtesy boundaries. But if you find that somebody is coming into your space and it's not okay for them to do so, and you've got the door closed, letting them know without saying I'm busy, then it's time to verbalize what those boundaries need to be. And don't be shy about verbalizing your boundaries. When you are talking about your boundaries with the people you live with or the people you work with, it's not about picking a fight or being aggressive. It's just simply about stating the fact that I'm working from this time to this time, and if the door is closed, it means that I'm in a meeting and I really can't be disturbed during that time frame. I'll open the door when it's okay for you to come in and talk to me. Maybe even say, well, I'll have my phone on if you want to send me a text. And you can put your phone on vibrate, so if there is an emergency in the house, you know, it'll vibrate quietly and not interrupt the meeting that you're in, but you can quickly look and see if the kids are okay, if your parents are okay, if your spouse is okay, etc., while still establishing that boundary. Just because you're checking the text doesn't mean you have to jump up and do something. You know, if one of your kids sends you a text message, I want a Pop-Tart, or I want lunch, and it's not time for you to get up and help them out, you don't have to jump up and do that, you know? You don't even have to respond. You just got the text. When you're done with your meeting or done with what your priority is, then you can get up and step outside, open the door, and let them know, or reply to their text and say, okay, I'm finished with that meeting, or I'm finished with my client, and now I can help you get some lunch together or take you to that appointment, or whatever the need is. The only time you really need to jump up and react immediately is in an emergency situation. And that always holds true. It holds true no matter what you're doing. If you are away on vacation, you don't need to immediately respond to every message and every phone call. In fact, one of the things that I do, and I do let people know, is I don't answer the phone during my business hours for my corporate job. If you call me, I'm not going to answer the phone. If I can answer the phone, then I may answer the phone. If it's my son, or if it's my boyfriend, or my parents, and I'm able to answer, I probably will. If it's a number that I don't recognize, I'm not answering it. And the truth of the matter is if it's a number I don't recognize, then I don't have an appointment with you. We haven't made a connection. I'm not going to answer the phone. I'm going to let you leave a voicemail, which I will get to when I have the time to get to it. And those are some of the boundaries that I have. I often tell people it's a lot easier for you to text or email me, because I'll respond a lot faster. I kind of tend to forget about phone calls. We don't really make a lot of phone calls anymore, which I think is interesting change of events, because when I was younger, I was on the phone all the time. We used to have an egg timer as a child. So that I would not be on the phone more than 5 minutes or 10 minutes, etc. I'd have to beg for more time. So anyway, that's a little bit about how I keep my work-life balance going. One last thing I'll talk about too is leaving time. When it's time for you to leave your corporate job, you are hired for a job and they tell you your hours are 8 to 4:30, 8:30 to 5, 9 to 5, 10:30 to 7, whatever those hours are. Those are the hours that you're committed to that job. And you need to give the job and the company that hired you for that job the respect that it deserves by staying focused on task within the parameters of those hours. Once those hours are up, however, you're free to get up and go home and not look back and feel guilty that you haven't done anything. Maybe you didn't accomplish everything you wanted to because time doesn't allow for you to do that. And if you're struggling and that's the case, it's time to reset some boundaries within the corporate structure and talk to your boss about too many meetings or too many emails or things like that. And if you decide that you're going to work a few extra hours to tidy up those emails at the end of the day, or you're going to come in and work a couple extra hours on a holiday because it makes you feel better about what you are accomplishing, then that's a conversation between you and your employer to have. But when you're hired and you're given your scheduled time, that's the time that you're dedicated to that job. Just like I have LoonWitch office hours, and during those office hours, I'm dedicated to my LoonWitch work. I do my best to not work on Sundays. I like to have one day a week where I can just relax and hang out with Doug and Bob and maybe my parents or my son, and not really do a whole heck of a lot if I don't want to. So on those days, you may see me answering emails because it might be a day where maybe it's a rainy day like today and we don't have anything else going on. So I'm going to catch up on some projects. Maybe I'll write some letters, but I might update my calendar or answer some emails. And that's totally within my control to decide if I want to do something or not. So I never feel bad about it. It's my time to do it as I will. And if I want to work for my corporate job or if I want to work for my personal business, then those are the things that I can do because it's within my control. A big important part about keeping that work-life balance is not looking back and having regrets, not looking at the day behind you and saying, I wish I had done this or this or this. I do make some lists when I feel things are getting really busy. Lists help me to stay focused and on task. And let's face it, most of you know, I really enjoy stationery. I love different pens. So that kind of speaks to a whole different part of me as well, and checking things off a list is very rewarding to me. All right, I promise that's it for today. It's we're almost a half an hour in, and it's very rare that I do these longer videos, but I hope that you are all well. I hope that this has helped you a little bit to get some perspective and find some balance in your work and home and otherwise life. And until next time, be well. This is the LoonWitch. If you want to learn more, you can always find out more about me on my website, which is LoonWitch.com, or join my community online at enchantedforest.swc.com. It's a mighty network and it's free to join. Be well.